preach on a pleasant thought this morning. Love coming home from church. Isn't that pleasant? Love coming home from church. And I want you to listen very carefully this morning, because I'm going to describe 4 people. And at the end of the service, I want you to tell me which one of the 4 that you can identify with most. Which one of the 4 are you most like? You see, it's a very unusual story. And according to the report that I have in front of me, the man just left church and was heading straight home, minding his own business, when all of a sudden he was ambushed by a bunch of thugs. And rumor has it that these muggers were a group of political activists trying to overthrow the government. Be that as may, they wanted the man's money. And as far as I can piece this story together, this man wasn't about to part with his money, so he decided to put up a fight. But since he was hopelessly outnumbered, it was a very unwise decision, and it wasn't long until this gang of thieves had beat him to a pulp, leaving him more dead than alive, and leaving him laid by the side of the road. And how long he lay there bleeding and moaning and slipping in and out of consciousness, no one knows for sure. But in time, after what seemed like hours, the dying man, he thought he could hear footsteps coming down the road. And through his one remaining good eye, he could see the blurred outline of a man. And as this man got closer, the victim could see that it was a pastor, or a minister, or a priest. Oh, God be praised. Surely the man of the cloth is going to help. But the account says that the pastor took one look at this mangled form of humanity and hurried on his way. You see, he had a lunch date. He didn't want to miss it. And we can't say then, we don't know how much longer this poor man lay by the side of the road before someone else came to his aid. But we do know from the account that at least one more person passed by without help. And finally, after long, long hours, when all hope was gone, another man chanced to drive by this way. He spotted the man lying in the ditch. He got out of his huge SUV, gently pulled him into the back seat, blood and all, and then drove him to the nearest medical center, and he agreed to pay for his care until the poor man was fully recovered. You see, this was before there were national Medicare services, and so this guy had to pay right out of his own pocket. It was an incredible story of heroism. And the story I just related to you, it didn't happen in Pueblo or Denver, but you'll find the story, minus the SUV, in Luke chapter 10. Kathy read it once, but let's read it again. Luke chapter 10, beginning with verse 7. In reply, Jesus said a man was going down from Jerusalem to Jericho, and he was attacked by robbers. They stripped him of his clothes. They beat him, leaving him half dead. A priest happened to be going down the same road, and when he saw the man, he passed by on the other side. So too a Levite, when he came to the place and saw him, passed by on the other side. But a Samaritan, as he traveled, came where the man was, and when he saw him, he took pity on him. He went to him, bandaged all his wounds, he poured on oil and wine, and then he put the man on his own donkey, brought him to an inn, and took care of him. The next day he took out 2 denarii, gave them to the innkeeper. Look after him, he said, and when I return, I will reimburse you for any expense you may have. And which of these 3 do you think was a neighbor to the man who fell into the hands of robbers? And the expert of the law replied, the one who had mercy on him. And Jesus told him, go and do likewise. It's one of the greatest stories Jesus ever told, and we call it the parable of the Good Samaritan. There are 4 principal characters in this timeless story, and I want us to look at them this morning and see where we best fit in. First of all, let's talk about the traveler. It's the first person that we meet, and it's called the traveler. Jesus called him a certain man. We don't know his name. We don't know how old he was. We don't know his race, though we suspect he's a Jew. But facts are, we know very little about him. But we do know that this nameless man was on his way from Jerusalem to Jericho. And the distance between these 2 places is approximately 18 miles. I suppose it would be like taking a drive up to Colorado City. But there the similarity ends. For the distance between Jerusalem is not only measured horizontally, but it's measured vertically also. You see, Jerusalem is over 2,000 feet above sea level, and Jericho is over 1,000 feet below sea level. You put that together, and you have a 3,000-foot drop in less than 18 miles. The Bible says the man went down. And when the Bible says down, it really means down. The Jericho road was narrow, the terrain rugged, the risk very high. It was a perfect place for packs of thieves to hold up lonely travelers. And that's exactly what happened today. And I assume this traveler was in Jerusalem to worship God. Because Jerusalem wasn't a great commercial or political center at this time, but it was a worship center. The worship center for the Jewish faith. People came to Jerusalem from all over the world to worship the true and living God. And I want to submit to you this morning that this is what the men have been doing in Jerusalem. But the point is, he got mugged coming home from church. He got into deep trouble right after worshiping God. But wait a minute. I thought God protected people who worshiped him. I thought sickness and suffering could never touch the worshiping child of God. It doesn't make sense that this man could be worshiping God in the morning and could be breathing his last in the afternoon. It doesn't make sense that God-fearing people should have trouble and pain and heartache, and that bad people should prosper. But here we are this morning in the warmth of God's house, basking in the sunlight of his love, and we're worshiping the true God of heaven. But does this fact shield us from trouble for the rest of the week? Because I worship God today, is my car going to start tomorrow? Because I gather in the house of God today, am I going to have a trouble-free week? You see, whatever worship does for me, it doesn't give me immunization from all of the ills that befall mankind. Nor does worship prevent me from making unwise, stupid decisions that later on bring suffering. You see, the man in our story, he made a very unwise and stupid decision. As far back as anybody can remember, Jewish mothers have been telling their sons, don't travel the Jericho road alone. Never go alone on the Jericho road. It's infested with thieves. Always travel in a caravan. Always go in a group. Do you hear that? Issy, are you listening to me? And just like mothers today, pounding into our little ones. Don't play in the street. If you play in the street, you're going to get run over. Never play in the street. Play in the backyard. Go to the playground. But don't play in the street. So everyone from Dan to Beersheba knew the reputation of that Jericho road. And nobody in his right mind ever traveled that road alone. Everybody said that if you travel those 18 miles alone, you're just asking for trouble. But you see, the lead man in our story, he went ahead and did it anyway. Against common sense, against better judgment, against the laws of cause and effect, against his boyhood training, against all of wise counsel. He went and did it anyway. And sure enough, his world fell in. How do you react when people get into big trouble when their eyes are wide open? How do you feel towards people who suffer great tragedy because they wouldn't listen to godly advice? You see, there are a lot of people who believe that if you eat cookies in bed, you deserve to sleep with crumbs. Their favorite scripture is, whatsoever a man sows, that shall he also reap. This man had no business out there alone on that highway. He got what he deserved. He got what he was asking for. Too bad. Too sad for him. You've always heard the saying that if you play with fire, you're going to get burned. So let him fry. Wow, that's kind of harsh, huh? It's very easy to be hard on a fallen brother, isn't it? It's so easy to be smug, to be judgmental, to be self-righteous, and to be cold. But the amazing thing is that there were 4 men who traveled on that road long ago. And all 4 traveled alone. All 4 made that same unwise decision, but only one got caught. But you see, that's not the point. The point is, they were all guilty of indiscretion. But it wasn't until the 3rd man came along that somebody woke up to the fact that, but for the grace of God, there go I. It could have been me. It could have been me. Talk to a man battered by life, drinking with alcohol. And part of me says, how could you be so stupid? And the other part says, it could have been me. It could have been me. So there he is, bleeding, bruised, broken by the side of the road. What are you and I going to do about it? What are we going to do about it? But before we answer that, let's look at the priest and the Levite. In ancient Israel, almost every male descendant of Aaron was a priest. You'll recall that Zechariah, John the Baptist's father, was such a person. And it's estimated that there were at least 20,000 priests in Israel at this time. And it's one thing to have a ministerial staff of 1 or 2. It's quite another to have a staff of 20,000. It's rather difficult to get everybody worked into the program in a week. And for ordinary purposes, there are far too many priests. So they had to take turns in serving in the temple. It was a highlight of their life. Nothing would deter them from doing what they were born to do. Destiny had been laid upon them. They were very, very special men. So here it comes. God-fearing, religious, upright, intent on doing the will of God. And suddenly he stumbled upon this mangled form of humanity. His response was to recoil from the body. You see, one of the rules of the priesthood was that they couldn't touch a dead body, or they would forfeit their turn in the temple. So the priest had to assume that this man was dead, and he passes on by. But you know, it's good to be disciplined. It's good to have a sense of direction in your life. It's good to have goals. It's good to have the kind of tunnel vision, to let nothing deter you. It's good to be eager to worship God. But you see, it's a tragedy when these qualities prevent us from seeing and meeting human needs. It's a tragedy when Christians take the attitude, I don't want to get involved. And so we justify our lack of involvement with religious-sounding reasons as the priest did. Meanwhile, a man by the side of the road is still laying there dying. You see, there's a delicate balance between worship and service. Some people have gone the service route and have deeply committed themselves to helping people, but they never go to the church to worship. And others, like the priest, they go to the temple all right, but in so doing, they pass the score of broken people. You see, God wants both from us. Our worship, and He wants our service. He wants our adoration, and He wants our deeds, kindness. God help us to be balanced Christians. And this morning as we gather to worship Him. But also let us reach out to those who've fallen by the wayside. We need to get to the hurts of our fellow men. But there's a third man in our story, and he's called a Levite. Now all priests were Levites, but not all Levites were priests. And for some reason this man must have disqualified himself as a priest. Maybe it was his marriage, or his physical condition, or something else that disqualified him. In any case, he wasn't a priest. And the text seems to indicate that he took a little closer look at this dying man than his predecessor. Perhaps he was almost ready to help. But then he backed off. And he only surmised what thoughts may have raised through his mind that day. Maybe he said to himself, this could be one of those decoys. They do that sometimes. One of the gang lies down by the side of the road with cosmetic blood all over him. And when some sympathetic passerby stoops down to help, the rest of the gang jumps in. That's it. I know this man's a decoy. I better get out of here fast. I just can't take that chance. There's too much danger in this place. I've got to think of my family. I've got to think of my job, of my future. I just can't risk it. This has to be a setup. So the Levite, he passed by with haste. But stop and think about it for a minute. The Levite's logic is kind of hard to knock. It makes a lot of sense. I think that many of us here think the same way and react the same way, and we feel fully justified in doing so. He wasn't a bad man. He just wasn't willing to show love if there were going to be any risks involved. And did you know that in any act of love, there's going to be risks involved? Any act of love, there are risks involved. Whenever you reach out in love to someone else, there's always a possibility that you'll be hurt. There's always a possibility that you'll be rejected You'll be misunderstood. You'll be humiliated. There's something else painful. All of us have felt the pain of putting trust in someone, only to have the rug pulled out from under us. It hurts. I mean, it really hurts. Did you ever play that game when you were a kid, where you asked someone to sit down, and just as they were sitting down, you pulled the chair away, and they landed in an ungraceful clump on the floor? That was my favorite. But what happens when that happens to you? Do you just stand up for the rest of your life when they pull the chair out from under you? Or you always look over your shoulder? Or you go on trusting people? Now my message is not a call to recklessness or to become the village fool like Charlie Brown. But I think we need to be reminded that there's always going to be risks involved when we give ourselves to other people. I mean, look at what happened to Jesus. He trusted 12 men with his life. One turned him in. One totally denied him. And the rest scattered in the night. And no one would suggest that Jesus was wrong to love these men. And some of you here have had bitter experiences in childhood, or in business, or in marriage, or in child raising, or in dating, where you trusted someone whom you really loved. And when you went to sit down, they took the chair away, and you were badly hurt. And ever since that time, you've been like the Levite. A little older, a little wiser, and a little colder in your soul. And you say, I just can't take the risk of being hurt again. I can't afford to suffer. I must stay away from any relationship that exposes me to the possibility of pain. You should pray, oh God, give us the ability to love, even at the risk of being hurt. Even maybe like the Good Samaritan. And here's a man who had lots of reasons to keep going, but he didn't. He showed compassion to this dying man. He took the risk to love him. He said by his actions, there go I, but for the grace of God. And not only did he give this poor man emergency care, but he made sure that he had long-term care. And it's estimated that he paid the innkeeper enough money to keep him for 2 months. And he worked that out in today's language at your friendly Holiday Inn, never mind your local hospital. Room and meals for 2 months would have been at least $15,000. And then Jesus turned to his followers and said, go and do likewise. So who are you most like today? Who can you identify with these four? Maybe you're the traveler. You're battered. You're bruised by life. You're rejected by people. You're helpless. You're confused. And I suppose spiritually all of us have been in this place at one time or another. All of us have been plundered by the thugs of hell. Religion didn't help us. Discipline didn't help us. Morality and education didn't help us. So maybe there's somebody here today that can identify most with the priest. You're very religious, very upright, very rule conscious, very disciplined, very ritualistic, but also you're very cold in his heart. Is it possible that we have someone here today that has smugly said, serves him or her right? They deserve what they got. Or maybe you're like the Levite. You're very slow to show love because of the way you've been hurt in the past. And so you take one look and you walk on by. And I wonder if we don't have some here who are like the Good Samaritan, filled with compassion, filled with love. People who worship, yes, but also people who are filled with deeds of kindness. Men and women who are willing to take the risk. People who love others in Jesus' name. Think about it. Which one are you? Which one would you like to be? Lord, I thank you for this story of the Good Samaritan. Lord, I would pray that we're all Good Samaritans. I know we've all been battered and bruised by life, but you came along and took care of us, Lord, and picked us up. You loved us. You loved us so much that you sent your son to die on the cross, Lord. You were rejected by men, but you still did it and you loved us. I pray, Lord, that if someone here doesn't know you, or they just need need help in drawing closer to you, that today would be the day. Help us, Lord, to love others and take the risk of loving others, just as you did. Bless the remaining part of this service, Lord.